Well, you guys were like right down to business right away.
Right away.
I mean,
gotta have this guy. He's nailing the fills.
Plastic Constellations were like, it was like,
yeah.
I remember hearing about it like, oh yeah, there's these guys that are like 15, and they're playing in the entry, or they're playing at the.
I mean, we had
Firefox or Foxfire.
Yeah, Foxfire. Yeah, we have very supportive families that nurtured what we wanted. I mean, they knew that we were interested in or whatever, and so they let us. Oh yeah, so that's Jake Vistendal playing the drums there. That's at a church off Shady Oak in Excelsior, I believe. There's that same pavement shirt in the cardigan again. But yeah, so it was like it was always cool. It was just like, this is what you want to do, and I think we all had that in our families, and that was like a very big thing, like. So that's how it was able to be taken to the next step, I think, and why we were so ambitious, because there's no one telling us not to, And then just some cool opportunities started to open. Started to open up for us. Like, we started getting better. We honestly did start getting better. And I do have I went through all these old tapes in preparation for this, right? So I found one of our first demo tapes. I think this is called The Good Life. I think this is about Tony Bennett. Because I think he was making his like MTV return with his Unplugged album, so we actually knew who Tony Bennett was at this point. So I'll play a little clip. This is gonna be bad. I'm gonna turn it down a little bit even. So you got the chords, then you got the two note. And the voices on this is Jeff. It's you, dog. Putting you out there. I had the fuzz pedal, so it's like, yeah! So, there's the fills, Matt's on the fills. He's got the ride, he's got it down, and then just kick right back into it. So we're doing it. Like, we're playing, like, honestly, we're playing, like, 8th grade, 9th grade dances.
And you recorded this yourselves?
We got we'd gotten 4 tracks. Matt had gotten one, I think, and I had gotten one.
In the basement?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And Matt's folks were great. They actually, like, built us a room in the basement, like a practice room. It was their exercise room little deal, and, like, they let us that was our little lair. So we just set up shop. We'd spend a weekend, and we'd have a sleepover, and we'd just do it, And there was just this, I don't know what it was, but we were just like, that's what interested us. So it was just like driven from the beginning, like making lists on my folders, top 10 bands, how are we going to make our next demo tape better? Like, just constantly just consuming my every thought. And it has to this day. This music is like, that's what I'm thinking about, Like, what's the next move? What are we going to do? What am I going to make? But yeah, so that's how I get started. So TPC. So now we're TPC. We're the Plastic Constellations. It's a weird name. Kind of wish we could have changed it a long time ago, but it's kind of, it's stuck. That's why we just made it TPC with an exclamation point, so it's easier for us to deal with. But so we're getting to, I remember 9th grade we played the talent show, and we get to headline, we just murder it. We destroyed it. And I'm like, okay, we're getting there. And then we get to high school, and at this point, like, I had gotten into local music. I'd gone through the indie stuff, and I'd gotten through Matador Records and Merge Records and all that, listened to all that, and now we're all starting to realize there's local bands here that are doing cool stuff. And I remember, so we'd listen to Radio K, and we'd hear about new stuff. And so Lifter Puller was like huge. It came out, that's the first set. So I had started buying records because Jeff started buying records. So then it was like, 7 inches. Those are even more obscure. Well, I should get some of those. And so yeah, this first Lifter Puller 7-inch. And it just like blew my mind somehow. And I was just driving, I had a paper out with my mom. I think we were just driving around delivering papers. And they were on Off the Record or something. It's like, I gotta have that. So I went to Orfolk and got the 7-inch. My mom, amazing lady, would drive me and us to the record store every Sunday.
In the back of the restaurant,
so,
couple debutantes, 100 bottles of wine.
So it's the Hold Steady originally or whatever, if you know that, Craig Finn or whatever. So it's before everything got huge. This is their start too, hear it now, but
got a tape talk, not the
it had elements of, I don't know, I think I still heard Pavement in it somehow, and I was like, I'll listen to that. So we're starting to get introduced to this local scene, and there'd be like, what was the record store that closed down, or eventually moved to Lindale?
Garage Door?
Yeah. They would have in-stores, so that was like the only all-ages stuff. So like I remember, like Balloon Guy would come, and they were like a local band. So we get to see these bands for free, go down, buy some records, see these bands play, talk to the bands even. And that was when we got this young confidence of like, we can just go up to these guys and talk to them, and they think it's cool because we're young and we know about their band or whatever. Okay, so we're like, we got to make a 7-inch now. There's all 7-inch is like the cool thing to do. We got to make a 7-inch, and we did. We get to high school, and they have, they usually have like study hall or whatever where you can, I don't think you get credits, but you can just like take a class or whatever, But they, as an alternative to that, they had something called independent study, where if you could convince a teacher to basically approve what you wanted to learn about that month, or that semester or whatever it was, and you could like write stuff out, you could do that and you could actually get credit. So we were like, perfect. We could do this stuff and go to like get credit for it, and so we're like, we want to make a 7-inch. We want to start a record label, and we want to make a 7-inch. And Pretentious Records, what we came up with, Isaac from Building Better Bombs and Mel Gibson, or not Mel Gibson, terrible, sorry about that. Marijuana Death Squads. It was him, me, Matt. Jeff, were you in it too? Okay, not in the independent study, but so we did that, and so we spent like a semester researching and figuring out how it's done, and we made our 7-inch. Like we got in some free recording time. We made a 7-inch, and we made, Matt found all the artwork. This is like, this is crazy. We made a little catalog for Pretentious Records that was like a safari theme. I don't know, just really weird stuff that you just had too much time. I'd come home from school and I'd just immediately scheme on what we're gonna do. So we did it, and then so that was our first. We brought that to Radio K, and it's the catalog. So we brought that to Radio K, and they started playing it. They're like, these kids dropped this off, and they played it in the morning. I remember hearing it, like my mom would drop me off at school, and I'd be hearing it in the car, and I was like, you gotta be kidding me, man. And they talk it up. And so that was when we finally started to like really push for, we did the 7th Street Entry Best New Band thing, and we started to like, we had met some people around the city a little bit. I had actually, one of the best days of my life was over the holidays, my family flew to Chicago to see my grandparents. Craig Finn, who at this point was like my idol, really, in Lifter Puller, we're waiting to get on the plane, and I see him at the airport or whatever, like in the same area, and I see him. He's got like a weird winter hat on. I just immediately know because I'd seen them a couple times. I was like, oh my God, that's Craig Finn. And I was like, bang. I was on him. Because I'd already sent them an email or whatever, like, I fucking love your band, like, and so like immediately I'm just on him. And I'm like, hey, I don't know if you don't know me, but I wrote you this email, and whatever. He's like, yeah. And we start talking, and it turns out he's on that same flight. And my dad, awesome, is like, well, let me figure out a way that we can get the seats switched so you guys can talk the whole time. And he does. So Craig meets my whole family, and gets sat next to me. And I got like an hour and a half now in the plane with this guy that I'm just freaking out on, just like, what about this? What about the lyrics to this song? And blah, 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 blah. And so we had our first demo tape. I think it was this one. It might have been another one, but, we had made this tape on this 4-track, and we had gone to Kinko's. That was our favorite thing to do. We go to Kinko's and make it all happen, and we do this all the time. This is like the best thing in the world. And so I gave him one of these. I was like, dude, here's a demo, man. We're doing music too. Like, I get in, and so I'm like, okay, it's over. I remember calling my girlfriend at the time when we get to Chicago and just being like, this is the best day of my life. Like I just telling everybody about it, freaking out. And then I get back. And like a week later, I get an email back from him, and he's like, I walked around Chicago all weekend listening to your demo tape, and I'm on board. Like and so that began this relationship with him where he was kind of like almost like a musical father figure where he like would help us because they were already involved.